The sun is shining and it's almost time to go racing at one of the most historic venues in North American racing, Sebring International Raceway. Hello, my name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside, and it's Amanda Busick down in the pit lane. About time to go for race number 2 of this doubleheader weekend for GT America, powered by AWS. Race number 1 yesterday saw an upsetting of the established order in the championship, with Tony Davis starting on pole position, looking for his first win in the series. It was Davis in his Ferrari that led the field to green. Memo Gidley, the championship leader, undefeated on the season, had some work to do coming from the second row of the grid. Made that pass on Kyle Washington to get to second place, but had a lot of work to do to run down the leader. Troubles further in the pack for Mirko Schultes in the Callaway Corvette. Spent a significant time in the pit lane, but did return to the racetrack. This was a scary moment in the fight for 4th and 5th with a spinner just in front. Meanwhile, the leaders had a spinner to contend with out of 16. Tony Davis, though, held off a furious charge from Memo Gidley to get his first win in the series. Congratulations to Tony, taking that victory and taking second place in the championship at the same time. On the subject of the championship, it was the first time Memo Gidley had been defeated in one of these races here in 2026. Davis was the man to do it, and with maximum points in race number 1, he jumped ahead of Kyle Washington by 4 tallies to take second in the standings. It's awfully close, though, from Davis and Washington on back. Schwest not too far out of the picture. Mark Muzzo had another solid top 5 run yesterday as well, but it's still Memo Gidley in charge with 118 points, 4 wins through the first 5 races. Mentioned the sunshine is out at the moment, and that is good, but conditions much more favorable than they've been for previous races this weekend. 84 degrees in the air. That will start to come up. Humidity, though, Calvin, is still something to contend with.
Yeah, certainly going to be a challenge still, but much milder and more moderate temperatures than we had yesterday. So it's going to be a sign of relief for the drivers to really get going here. It was a great race yesterday. So many variables there. Davis hanging on for that win. Gidley trying to keep that unbeaten run streak going. But Kyle Washington had amazing pace, and because of that, he had fast lap. He'll start from the pole here today. Coming off a great victory last night with Tom Sargent as well in the GT World Challenge America race. He's going to be pretty pumped up today.
Yeah, he's got a lot to be excited about. There he is, getting strapped into his GMG Porsche. He'll lead the field to the green flag. Let's head down to the grid now and welcome in the third member of the team, Amanda Busick.
Hey guys, good morning for day number 3 here at Sebring International Raceway for SRO America. We're going to have our GT America race now, and boy, was it exciting yesterday, and I have a feeling these front 2 rows are going to see some of that same action. I wish I had an e-boost for Kyle Washington down on the grid, but I do have a lot of caffeine to keep me going here this morning. But what a weekend so far for Kyle Washington to punctuate it here with, look at him smiling through his helmet, I see you. To punctuate it here with the win. He's in the best starting position to do it based on his fastest lap yesterday. So good luck to Kyle Washington, and what an effort from that entire team yesterday in the World Challenge race and just the whole day in general. So happy to see this Callaway Corvette back from Mirko Schultes, and talking to the team, they said it was just cosmetic damage. They are monitoring a misfire issue that they have intermittently off and on. Hopefully not seeing any of that here today. Mirko also with an incredible lap puts him on the front row. These guys back to row 2, obviously Tony Davis getting his first win in the season, also a little bit of shakeup in the points. Curious if there's a future for this team, if we would see them maybe in any other series. I tried to prod the team a little bit, but got no answers out of them. But welcome Tony to his first win here in GT America. I'm sure big things coming for them. And Memo Gidley, he said he's going to get to the front. It needs to happen early on. So we'll keep an eye on these stories down here, but doors are closed, engines are about to fire. Let's get racing here at Sebring.
Great way to cap off a busy weekend at this historic venue. A lot of talk there about the top class, SRO 3. That's 10 cars in this 15-car field. But we do have a couple of other classes as well, Calvin. GT2 makes its return. Lawrence Tomlinson, the chairman of Genetic Cars, he's in a Genetta GT2 machine from Dollarhide Racing. Then a couple of the Genetic Cup cars here as well in their own class, and 2 GT4 entries to boot. And mixed class racing, that always gets exciting here at Sebring.
Yeah, that GT2 is certainly a monster. Great to see Jason Bell back in GT4. He won here yesterday.
There's the start of the engine's command. It's been given down on the grid, and the cars roar to life for this 40-minute sprint race, the final race of the weekend across the SRO America Series that are here on site. Great look, great sound on that Callaway Corvette. Interesting, though, to get that information that it was a misfire they were chasing. We saw the car come to the pit lane. They stayed there for a while, but crucially did get Mirko back out in order to set that fast lap time, which has him starting on the front row.
Yeah, and then he backed into the wall in 13. We think there might have been some fluid down there, so I was concerned with the lack of spare parts in the USA for that race car that he might not make the start for today. But as Amanda reported already, just cosmetic, and he's good to go. If he's got good pace, if he's got performance from the engine with no misfire electronic issues, then he could really be a force, because typically Mirko doesn't qualify that well, but as you see, the grid is set by fast laps in the race yesterday, which is an indicator that he did get going in the race. And starting from the front row, I love the eclectic group up there, car washed, and so much potential, just putting all together and knitting it together to put the perfect lap together. He certainly did that yesterday, get that pole position. Gidley there, he's going to want to bounce back. But Washington did win race 2 here last year. Let's see if he can rinse and repeat.
Let's talk Sebring, Cal. What makes this place such a challenge?
The bumps, the heat, everything. It's a super challenging circuit, 3 3/4 miles, as you can see, 17 turns. Some high-speed stuff, turn 1 to start the lap. It's a blind entry there around the wall. Got to watch for the exit there. If you drop a wheel there, that can send you into the fence. Then some really technical stuff. We got to have a lot of patience. Take commitment in some corners and really patience and technicality through others. But turn 17 to finish off the lap, that's where the big whoops are. That's where the bumps are. Really unbelievable. And sometimes you find yourself on a different part of the racetrack that you've never been before, and it's an adventure.
It is that. Oh, we've already had some problems here. This is John Manship, who has found the barrier on the formation lap. Safety crew already en route, will arrive here shortly, but this should delay, I would expect, the start of the race here today. Hate to see that for John.
Yeah, I wonder if when they came out of the pits, he was just trying to do some weaving around and warm the tires up, and just see if he does that. We talk about being on cold tires. It's very warm out there today, but just look in the background here. See the cars. Oh, he just came up on Scott Blind and kind of looked up, and suddenly Scott was there and took evasive action. But you know, the tires just sitting on pit lane should have generated quite a bit of temperature, so that's typically something you see in much cooler conditions, where you're trying to warm the tires up and you just give it a squirt of gas and it comes around on you. It's going relatively slowly, so I'm not sure how much damage is on that front end of that Porsche. Clog will start once we come back around, because obviously the team's only fueled up for what they believe was 40 minutes of action.
Well, while we have a moment, let's look at the way this field was supposed to start here at the end of this lap. Obviously, the start delayed by that incident. Hopefully, the damage is not too significant, and John Manship can at least take part in today's race. But your pole position, Kyle Washington for GMG Racing, winner last night in GT World Challenge America with the veteran Mirko Schultes alongside in the Callaway Corvette. Then it's Memo Gidley, championship leader, winner 4 times this season. The only man to head him has been Tony Davis. Got that win yesterday. He'll start from 4th. Mark Mutso starts 5th. Then it's Ross Schwest from Schwest Popoleto Racing in the newer Corvette. Scott Blind, brightly colored Porsche from Ruckus Racing, next to Dave Musial Sr., another eye-catching livery on that car. John Manship, unfortunately, we've already been introduced to. Rodin Unesi alongside in his Ferrari. Then it's Lawrence Tomlinson stepping into the championship for the first time. Jason Bell making a return for the first time in some time. And it's David Lecco with the Racing Support Intergenetta. Corey Deeds also in a Genetta. And Craig Lumsden out back in the Colorado Motorsports by Flying Lizard BMW M4 GT4. As Calvin said, the clock will start here, as this is effectively a delayed start to the race, but teams had planned around a 40-minute duration in terms of the fuel load they're carrying in those cars. So this will eat into the race a little bit for someone like Memo Gidley, who's coming from the second row. He's got some work to do. Tony Davis as well. We know those cars are fast, but this just means less opportunity to get to the front.
Yeah, and I think even just doing an extra formation lap just gets you into the feel of the car. You can get a little bit of feel for the car, what the track conditions are like, try and find a little gap and accelerate and see if you've got good bike coming off the corner, so it allow drivers to settle in a little bit here.
Manship coming off a season best 8th place finish yesterday, but this day has not gotten off to a great start, Amanda. What can you tell us?
Yeah, and John was able to talk to his team. They said that John kind of got caught up by Scott Blend in front of him. I don't think it was the tires. Asked if the car was okay, and they said John told him, well, I whacked this wall pretty hard, guys.
All right, and unfortunately our view of the front of the car is a bit obscured there by the safety vehicle, so hard to say whether or not that damage is significant enough to cause a problem. I suspect the Wright Motorsports team would like to see that car in the pit lane, at least give it a once-over.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be great to see if he can get back out there. Obviously, he's already a lap down, but you get that concertina effect. You're leaving the pits, and some people are using the brakes to kind of try and generate a bit of temperature, and I think he was just distracted, probably looked up, and suddenly Scott was there and just took evasive action and tugged it to the left.
Season so far, 2 races at Sonoma Raceway out in California, then a couple of weeks ago, Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Now this 2-race weekend here at Sebring. Up next, a return for SRO America to Road Atlanta, one classic venue after another.
Absolutely, it's great to see that back on the schedule. It's been quite some time, but we certainly have history there with World Challenge and SRO, so it's going to be good to go back. Different type of race circuit, lots of elevation change there, different challenges, but I think there's one that the whole paddock is looking forward to coming up here next month.
That will be June 12th through the 14th. Everyone excited about the prospects of returning to that great track. Again, a lot of talk about SRO3, of course, as that's the bulk of the field, but we should mention some of the other classes. And Lawrence Tomlinson yesterday gave this Ginetta GT2 car quite a ride. It's the G56 GT2, 6.3-liter supercharged V8, about 800 horsepower coming out of that car.
Sounds like a bit of you, Ryan. I think you'd be up for that challenge.
You know it. Sign me up.
Indy winner, just give him some big horsepower.
Well, if it's good enough for me, surely it's good enough for the Centimeter himself, our own Calvin Fish, who was recently recognized in an article in the publication for the British Racing Drivers Club, written by your longtime colleague, Andrew Marriott.
Yeah, it was very kind of Andrew to give me a shout a few months ago and chat for a few minutes, and it was nice to see it published. So, yeah, great memories, but yeah, obviously he beat me way more than I beat him.
But you can say you beat him, and that sets you apart from the rest of us mere mortals. We are in the presence of a legend here. So, anyway, we've been waiting all weekend to work that little jibe in.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get away with it, but you had it in your hip pocket, this delayed start.
Opportunity delivered. We're not going to pass up on that. So, talked about Lawrence Tomlinson in GT2. That's not the only Ginetta in the field. As mentioned, we have 2 Cup class entries. These are the Ginetta G56 GTP 8 cars. Little less power, just under 400 in their 6.2-liter V8s. Still, though, it's a potent machine around these racetracks here. It's a relatively affordable way to get into this style of racing, and my understanding is it can be upgraded into GT4 spec as well. So great little entry platform into the Ginetta Motorsports pyramid, if you will.
Yeah, I think it was a wonderful little race car. Looks like a bundle of fun to drive, so it's great to have kind of this ladder system, as you alluded to, Ryan, in terms of jumping in this GT America Championship at different levels, different price points, something to suit everyone who's trying to get established in the sport. So I'm hoping that this class will grow, because I think if we got like a half a dozen of them out there, really put on quite a show.
We've had as many as 2. This is the second time we've had it. Well, that's not true. This is the first time we've had 2 Ginettas. We've had a couple of Cup cars previously. There was a Ferrari Challenge car entered earlier in the season. That was at Sonoma. The class is new this year, and it is open to single-make cars from Ferrari, for example, or Lamborghini with one of their Super Trofeo cars. A new Super Trofeo car is coming next year based on the Temerario, and so that could make some of the old Huracan Super Trofeo cars available for something like this. Unfortunate news here for John Manship. Evidently, that car too damaged to take further part up on the flatbed. And yeah, that was a pretty good whack, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty good lick, even at relatively low speeds. Those concrete barriers don't move very easily.
Tough way for his weekend to end. This was set to be his 4th start this season, having run the 2 races at Circuit of the Americas. As mentioned, season best 8th place in race number 1 yesterday. But it does look like the cleanup is nearly wrapped up, and so after a bit of a delay here, should still have roughly 30 minutes of racing, maybe a little bit more, once the green flag officially comes out. Again, the race is technically underway. We've lost now 6 minutes to this incident, but have not seen a green flag lap just yet.
Jason Bell, reunited with Racers Edge, ran with them in GT3 last year. Great to see him back, based in Tampa. Said, you know, I really miss racing, want to get back into GT4 competition. And he said, I'm hoping that this will entice other competitors as well, because going back 2 or 3 years, we had a stellar GT4 field in GT America and really puts on a great show. So again, we're just trying to embrace some more competitors in that class as well, because we saw Schwest and people like that kind of make that move from GT4 up to GT3 competition kind of seamlessly, and Jason's just decided to take a little break but come back, and I think he anticipates doing the rest of the season at this point, but we'll have to wait and see.
And that was the indication when talking to him, but all things are fluid, of course, in this sport and contingent on making sure all the ducks are in a row. But yeah, good to have him and the Racers Edge team back as well. Jason, a 2-time champion in this series in the GT4 class. All right, we've had to wait a little while, but it's time to get going. Lights off on the safety car, and Kyle Washington now in control of this field when the pace car ducks off to the right and into the pit lane. Washington in the brightly colored, primarily white though, e-Boost Porsche will lead the field to the acceleration zone. Mirko Schultes is alongside in the Callaway Corvette, but keep an eye on row number 2. Memo Gidley told Amanda he needs to go, and he'll have to get moving here early, that's for sure. Taking a peek to the inside of Schultes, trying to get second spot, and Memo does take the position.
Butzel makes some moves inside of Davis. There's the Ferraris go side by side as they accelerate off of turn 1. Gidley is up to P2. He's going to put the pressure on here on Washington out front. Good start for our pole sitter. Davis trying to recover here. It's going to be tight here. There's not going to be a lot of grip on the outside. Davis has got to be careful there. He doesn't run off the road.
Yeah, that was a really tight fight there. Mutso able to slip on by. Now Raj Schwest next to line up this attack. That's the black and silver Corvette back at the shot. Memo Gidley, though, immediately looking aggressive. Here comes Davis trying to get the spot back. Late lunge to the inside in turn 7, and for the moment it looks like he's through.
He is. Good news for Mirko Schultes. It looks like that Callaway Corvette does have pace here this morning, so far so good. Gidley on the move here. This is down into turn 10, trying to do the crossover. Tough to make it stick here as the track zigs backwards and forwards here on the approach to turn 13.
Oh, Washington's got his hands full, but he has been as busy as anybody.
Oh, he's in deep.
Weekend.
He's in super deep and shallow. Can he keep it together? Yes, he does. He has the grip.
Well, he's got plenty of seat time. He's been exploring this track all weekend long across 2 different series here in GT America plus GT World Challenge, so he'll know exactly where the grip should be. That said, conditions much cooler here this morning than we've seen in pretty much any session, any competitive session at least to this point in the weekend.
Yeah, that can change the balance on the race car, so the engineers will certainly try to guesstimate what sort of condition the track will be in, what they need from the race cars. But right now, certainly a great start for our pole sitter, but it got really tight there with Mirko Schultes as he tried to turn into turn 1.
Look back at the start, Eduardo Del Forge from Tech Club waving the green flag, and Memo Gidley's the man to watch for sure, coming from the second row of the grid up to the second spot and immediately putting pressure on the pole sitter, Kyle Washington. Kyle, who slipped to from second to third in the championship yesterday. Now under attack here. Memo Gidley to the inside, but Washington covers him off.
Yeah, it looked like Memo was just trying to feel the situation out, not totally committed down to the inside, just trying to see what sort of mood Kyle Washington is in this morning. Is he going to be feisty? Is he going to let me have a little bit of room or not? So Memo's just feeling him out right now. And Mirko Schultes is hanging in here. He's keeping tabs here with the leaders. This is really great news for the Callaway Corvette.
Yeah, you called him out in the pre-race saying if the performance of the car is up to it, Mirko should be there or thereabouts in the race. He should only get stronger as the race goes along.
Watch the crossover.
really tight there on the entry to 7. Gidley lays back, trying to get a run out of the corner. Is this enough to mount a challenge down in Tower?
Coming up now to Cunningham corner, turn 10 coming up the next one. Washington trying to be half a step ahead here in terms of the moves from behind, and if Mirko gets closer to Gidley, that's going to force the issue a little bit. Gidley's giving him plenty of breathing room on the entry of these corners, just trying to set up the exit a little bit, but he's got to be a little bit tighter through apex to be in position coming off the corners. You can see it there again, just gives him a little bit of breathing room through the apex, and that gives Kyle the buffer that he needs coming off of some of these corners.
Gidley was very much in this position much of the race yesterday, except it was the Ferrari of Davis that he was chasing down, and Tony did not crack under the pressure, which was relentless for the better part of 30 minutes. Kyle Washington has a similar challenge waiting for him. Gidley letting that car drift out up and over that curb there on exit. He's got a good run.
He does, and Davis is starting to lay down some really fast sectors, so he's cleared Mutsu a little bit now and kind of taken off. Here comes Mamo Gidley looking to the inside. Little pinch point there with the concrete wall driver's right.
Through the bumps in 17, under the bridge. Callaway Corvette of Schultz is closing in on this battle for the lead. First, second, third, all running nose to tail with Tony Davis starting to close in as well. This could be a 4-car battle before long.
Yeah, this could really get great here in about another lap or two. Let's see what happens here. Mamo's hand may be forced here a little bit. He may get a little bit more aggressive in some of these car positioning moves that he's trying to make here on the attack to some of these corners.
On the other hand, he's got a massive championship lead, and the only way that slips away in any kind of meaningful way is if you take a big risk and something goes terribly wrong and don't score big points here today. So, you think he's thinking points right now or thinking about winning the race?
I think he's able to think about everything. I think he's the complete multitasker in terms of being behind the wheel, thinking about the balance of the race car and everything else he needs to do, managing those tires, even though we have a slightly shortened green flag run here today with the issues on the formation lap. You still got to manage these tires in the heat, but Washington, confidence will be growing. He's got out there, he's going through a nice rhythm early, he's managing things nicely, but Davis is the one I'm looking at. He just laid down the fast lap of the race, some 0.8 quicker than the leader.
Washington is going to need to be perfect here to hang on to this spot. Gidley looks like he's got that car in a really nice window, but Washington's placed his car really nicely and proactively, making sure there's no line of attack open for Gidley in the Audi.
So, you know, Washington really takes a lot more entry speed into turn 13, but he's still got the front end grip coming off. It looked initially like, wow, he sort of overcharged the corner, but I think Gidley's just backing the corner up a little bit. So when you look at the two cars, it looks like cars suddenly rushing in and Gidley's kind of backing up at the same time.
Tony Davis, fastest lap of the race, as you saw a moment ago, and this could be an even faster one. He's already done a 2:05.4. That is 0.8 of a second faster than either of the top two cars have gone to this point in the race. Gidley right there with the slipstream. This time he's closer. Does he get enough to the inside, enough overlap? Washington has to leave him some space, and Gidley has made the pass to take the lead.
That was really nicely done by Mamo. He got to the inside, breathed the gas pedal.
As engineer Rosella, the whole team, they'll love to see that. Gidley has the red Audi at the front of the field, and Washington's troubles aren't done yet. Mirko Schultes is there, and Tony Davis has caught them as well. Mark Mutso also putting in some good laps. Look at this whole battle pack here. First all the way down to Scott Blend in 7th, only separated by 3 seconds.
Yeah, and the fast laps are separated by a few tenths, so Washington's got some time to find here. So I think now he's not being defensive in the corners and into the approach to some of these corners, trying to keep Mamo at bay. I think he's got some speed there to unwrap.
New fastest lap of the race, and it goes to the man running 6th, Ross Schwest, in the C8 Corvette right there, sitting right behind Mark Mutso, fighting for 5th and 6th. Scott Blend having a competitive run in the brightly colored Porsche, that's 7th.
Yeah, 6 of these top 7 have run fast laps within 0.3 of one another, so it's a really competitive field here.
That said, now that Gidley's out in front, he just laid down the race's best first sector, and by a pretty hefty margin, nearly half a second. So Gidley is clear, and now he'll try to make good his escape at the front of the field.
Yeah, he's going to try and almost lay down a couple of qualifying laps here, see if he can take the pressure off and then go into management mode.
Washington trying to keep pace. equidistant between Gidley and Washington and Schultes. Davis and Schultes might be the most compelling battle in this group. Mirko in the Callaway Corvette, Davis in the Ferrari 296. Best Sector 2 times. Kyle Washington just set that a moment ago.
Yeah, and I think, he's got in the wheel tracks of Gidley a little bit. I think he'll settle into a better line around this racetrack. I think he'll be super protective with his approach to some of the corners. That was compromising his lap time, so let's see if he can get a little bit of a reset here. His best lap is about half a second off of Gidley so far in this race, but I think this lap is looking much, much better.
His top 7 knotted together. Scott Blind looking somewhat aggressive here, closing in on Schwest, who moments ago was the fastest man on track, now supplanted by Gidley. First driver in the 204s, in a 204.481.
Yeah, it's a blistering lap, but let's not forget yesterday, Washington's fast lap of the race was a 203.8 that gave him the pole position today, so maybe a little bit more to come.
Credit where credit is due. Blind also has had a 204 and a 204.9. He's the back car, the caboose in this train, but plenty of pace in that machine. Scott still coming to grips with GT3 racing, coming out of single-make Porsche racing. So much success last year with 4 championships, but only getting stronger as he gains more experience, Amanda. It's been a rapid rise through the ranks for Scott.
Yeah, and also one of those teams that might be flirting with stepping up to different series within the SRO America paddock. But talked to Scott this morning, and I think he's one of the only drivers on property this weekend that has just looked straight at me and he said, I absolutely love this place. I know people respect Sebring, but with the heat and tolerating the bumps, Scott is having a blast out there.
I'm part of that club as well. I love the rhythm of this circuit. I thought it was super challenging, some really nice flowing corners. The bumps and the heat kind of, if you're having a rough day and the car's not working, it kind of all blends into one, not like in life, but I think you have to embrace this place, and the more you come back, the more you really appreciate the circuit layout.
Helps when you have success, though?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly taints things a little bit, but even so, I think it's a really enjoyable track to drive. You just got to get into a rhythm. The driver can make a difference here. Here we see Davis on the attack out of turn 16, gets a run on Schultes.
Big twitch from Mirko as he went to power out of that turn. That might have cost him some momentum, but the big old V8 in the C7 Corvette still has plenty of motor. It must be at full song today because he was able to maintain the gap over Davis. Davis will have to find another way by.
Yeah, seems to be on song right now, so it's a really solid run for him. He kept pace with the leaders initially, but now he's dropped back by about 1.5 seconds from Kyle Washington. As you can see them filing down into turn 1, but I love the way this field is coming together. This is going to be an exciting season when you look at all of those competitors being so close together with their fast laps here.
And as we talked about for a number of years, it's great to have a driver the caliber of Mamo Gidley or Johnny O'Connell before him as a benchmark for some of these drivers that are new to GT3 racing, something to measure themselves against.
Yeah, and Tony Davis said that he's got so much respect for Mamo, not only as a driver in his career, but also as a person. So, I mean, Mamo Gidley is certainly a great ambassador for the GT America Championship, and he gives it everything. Look for his 5th win on the season, and something for everyone to chase. He's kind of the gold standard right now.
As Davis alluded to, that was post-race yesterday. Really admiring Gidley, not just the driver, but the man, his story of perseverance. You know, of course, Alex Zanardi on all of our minds here in recent weeks, but Mamo's story quite similar, overcoming significant injuries at Daytona over a decade ago to find his way back into motorsports at a high level again.
Absolutely, yeah, just great perseverance and just passion that some of these guys have for the sport, just don't want to let it go. They know it's their life and they want to stay involved as long as they possibly can. Great to see this GT2 car.
Yeah.
It's handling really well. I was really impressed yesterday with how this Ginetta is handling the bumps. Just kind of just rides over them almost incredibly well.
Dave Musial Sr. just ahead. That's 8th place in SRO 3, 8th overall as well. Tomlinson, although in different classes, I'm sure having fun with finding somebody to fight with.
See what happens here. This GT2 car should have more horsepower and top speed, you'd believe, than Ullman.
And that's the way the class was designed. Big power, but less downforce than a GT3 car. Here he comes, putting that 800 horsepower or so to the ground. Has the pass made on the way into 17.
But look at the car over the bumps, turn 17. Look how smooth it is. Incredible. Really done a great job with the suspension on that car, on the damping.
Lawrence making his return to Sebring for the first time in 2 decades. Did the 12-hour race a couple of times, driving the old TVR Tuscan and also a Panos Esperante. In fact, he was a Le Mans class winner in the Panos back in 2006, I believe it was.
I think that was when Richard Dean was involved with that
Correct.
program, right?
It was Richard Dean, Lawrence Tomlinson, and Tom Kimber-Smith, the 3 drivers, driving for the team owned by Lawrence Tomlinson, Team L&T. He finished second in the Le Mans Series, as it was then known, LMGT2 Championship that year. That was Tomlinson and Dean.
Did the team, though, win here at Sebring, the 12-hour?
That one I don't have in my notes.
Okay.
I'll have to confess
Yeah,
my
I
ignorance
don't think
there.
Tomlinson was part of the driver lineup, but something like 2005, something in back of my mind is clicking there, but not quite getting it together. Need more coffee.
Back to the battle here, 3rd and 4th, and 5th, 6th, and 7th as well. Why not throw them all into this, because they're basically nose to tail. Fastest lap belongs to Gidley by a healthy margin. Kyle Washington's 2nd quickest, but it's Blind 3rd fastest, and he's done that at the tail end of this train, which makes you think if he were able to get clear air, he might be even quicker than that 2:04.9 would indicate.
Yeah, super impressive. Scott Blind coming off just an amazing 2025. Got rewarded at the Porsche Night of Champions with a diamond ring. I think that's the first time that's ever happened because of his multiple championship wins last year. But really loving this championship and just so consistent. Just kind of sits there, takes it all in. I think if he wants to take it up to the next notch, maybe be a bit more aggressive in terms of making some passes and probing. He just kind of weighs everyone up a little bit right now, but I think that's going to come as he gets more comfortable here in this championship.
Told the story before, but Scott from St. Louis kind of got hooked on racing through karting, but this came later in life, had a successful business, and sought to support some young drivers from the St. Louis area. Spike Kohlbecker most notably, who was trying to make it up the IndyCar ladder. Little traffic up ahead for the leaders here. But it was in support of Spike Kohlbecker, who was racing in either USF 2000 or USF Pro 2000 at the time, I'm not sure which, but it was a race at Barber Motorsports Park, and on the support bill was a single-make Porsche Series. Scott kind of said, well, what's that? And that's when he learned that, yeah, you can become a racing driver later in life. And that started him on this career. And what's neat, kind of a full circle moment, is that Spike's been racing in the SRO paddock here recently, having an amazing year in Toyota GR Cup right now. And Scott's been on site, of course, doing his own racing. And anytime Spike's winning races, Scott's usually one of the first there to congratulate him in victory lane.
Yeah, it's great to see him supporting some of the young talent that's coming up through a paddock. Oh, a little bit of a issue here, trying to deal with this traffic here. Nowhere to go for that GT4 car to get out of the way, unfortunately, for Lumsden. Great little bit of chaos there with the SRO field, and that's going to SRO 3 field. And you can see it's created a bit of a gap now back to Davis between Mutsu and he.
That's what traffic will do. Part of the challenge when you mix different classes of varying performance levels together. Talked about Lawrence Tomlinson a moment ago. Great to have him back here, Amanda, but what has the weekend been like for Lawrence?
Hot. He had those cool suit issues yesterday. Luckily that situation is done, but talking to the team, they're without air conditioning today. So at least there's some bit of cooling down for Lawrence, but happy to hear that as it fits in his schedule, we will see this GT2 back at Indy and maybe other races depending on how it shakes out for the team.
Yeah, I'd have to say his lap times here, he's ran a 2:06.1, so just over 2 seconds off of Gidley. I think that's the closest delta we've seen. You know, we've had the sporadic GT2 appearance, but no one's really got within that sort of time window to the GT3 machine. So I think this is really a great showing here to showcase what a GT2 car can do within this championship.
He's hustling it. You can see the gloves flashing back and forth through the windscreen there. It's not just a Sunday drive here at Sebring. Lawrence, a passionate racer, has been for a long time, and as the chairman of Ginetta has really stewarded this historic brand into its new era.
Car looks simply sensational, just in terms of looks and handling. Gidley's fast lap now is a 203.901, but there's other fast cars. Blin just laid down the fastest first sector in this race, so there's pace potential within that pack, but Gidley's just got out front, got his head down, and just dominating things. Almost saying like yesterday was an anomaly. I'm going to dominate this championship and grab another win.
Look at the 3 different sectors. The Audi of Gidley, best in sectors 2 and 3. Sector 1 is the 45 of Blind that has the bragging rights. Just set that time, as Calvin said a moment ago.
What Blind can do here with Ross West. Kind of ironic that he successful business was Dent Wizard, but
that's right.
He doesn't put any dents in his race car. He keeps it really clean, doesn't he?
Yes. He's come a long way in a short amount of time, helped in large part by the tutelage of Andrew Davis, who's been a co-driver in some endurance racing and a driver coach with him for a number of years. And then Mike Johnson in Archangel Motorsports effectively run that Ruckus Racing team. The St. Louis connection runs very, very deep from team owner to driver.
And his daughter was racing karts for a while. Now she's heavily into the golfing scene, very successful there as well. So super competitive family, you'd have to believe. And he just loves his racing. And as Amanda said, some of these drivers like Tony Davis, Scott Blind, may we see them in GT World Challenge America. They've obviously got great driver coaches who would be great teammates. Trying to put 2 and 2 together here, but it's a step at a time. I think really just feeding themselves into this SRO paddock in GT America is perfect to see how they enjoy it, and then looking at the other options down the road.
For Scott, the last 3 years, he has won 6 championships. 6. 4 of them last year alone. That's where that diamond ring Calvin mentioned came in at the Porsche Night of Champions. Forever first diamond ring, as it was termed, first of its kind award. First of its kind because really nobody had ever quite done what he managed to do, winning titles, Porsche Sprint Challenge North America, Sprint Challenge USA West, Endurance Challenge, as well as Carrera Cup in his class.
Okay, this battle is heating up. Final step on the podium potentially at the end of the day if Davis can get around Mirko Schultes. Mirko, though, is pretty defiant. Great racer, just loves his racing, loves to be powered by GM. Big Chevy motors have been behind so much of his success over the years. Davis looks like he can potentially roll a little bit more speed through 16. He's just got to time it a little bit better, maybe create a little bit more of a gap on entry and just fire it through that corner to give him a run down this long Ullman straightaway. But that Callaway Corvette's got good top speed, it looks like.
And Mirko needs to rely on that. As an older generation GT3 car, doesn't have the same aero as some of the newer cars do. Mirko said, especially when he's behind other cars, he really struggles with front grip. The car washes out in the dirty air more than maybe some of the newer cars would. So he has to make his lap time in a different way.
Yep, that's for sure. So see if he can hang on here. Time is dwindling down here, just over 11 minutes to go. A little bit of traffic up ahead here again for Mirko to deal with. Can that give an opportunity for Tony here to make a run down towards the turn 7 hairpin?
One of the Cup class cars, that's Deeds, making his debut here this weekend, and that did seem to check up Mirko just a little bit. Now, is Davis close enough to take a lunge? He was really aggressive here earlier in the race. He is late on the brakes, sliding to the inside and through. Great pass.
Yeah, good racing there. Good commitment by Tony and good respect there by Mirko, just giving him just enough room. Didn't make it easy on him. Said if you're going to take it, you're going to really have to fight for it. He did that, but he's through. Let's see if he can get into a rhythm now and chase after Kyle Washington.
Mirko still fighting, though, looking left and right, trying to find a way back by. In the meantime, Ross West has caught back up to the tail of Mark Mutso.
Mutso's having a really strong day. Blin just sits there. Seems like he's got pace, just sitting, being patient. Can he get up there and get his elbows out a little bit and fight for this top 5?
Mark, 5th yesterday. That's where he runs at the moment. season best, a second place in the season opener. That was back at Sonoma, run by the very experienced SRO Motorsports team. He has his hands full here with Ross Schwest.
Yeah, Schwest has a big run, tucked right under the rear wing of that Ferrari.
Here comes the Corvette.
Bleeds out, can't quite get to the flank. See if he can do what Gidley does, have another little run there and have another, kind of almost two brake zones there. You kind of release the brakes a little bit over the bumps and can dive it down to the inside, but he's not quite close enough to make that move.
Seen over the years, Ross is a very deliberate racer. Doesn't put his car in compromised positions very often. Looking for a high percentage way by. The time's running out, down to just 9 minutes, 12 seconds left in the final race of the weekend.
Yeah, and this whole pack here of cars has kind of bled off a little time here. Meanwhile, Gidley up front has just been demonic, just hammering in lap times. Gap now about 7-8 seconds over Kyle Washington. Last lap was a 4-2 for Gidley, our leader, and the rest of the chasing pack in the mid-5s. That's a huge advantage to have at this stage of the race.
Beautiful sounds, the different power plants in these GT3 cars that make up the SRO3 class. This is really tightening up here. Mutso struggling a bit relative to the cars behind him, but he's got enough pace to keep them at bay.
He does. Everyone's doing a really good job. I mean, super, super impressive here. Oh, and Mirko is off through 13, runs out wide. He's going to lose 2-3 positions in a heartbeat, and maybe a little bit of damage to that right front corner as well.
Does look that way. Bodywork slightly ajar. If we learned anything from Tom Sargent yesterday, he might want to try going off track again and might pop back into place.
Yeah, I do see a little bit of smoke coming from the tail end of that Callaway, so I'm not sure if that's because he's been off the road and something's been dragging down or whether that caused the issue in the first place. Tails away when he accelerated up through 13, 14. Could see something going on, but maybe just a little driver error there on the approach to 13. It's such a tricky approach into Tower Corner there. You see him off the road, so lost the handle on it early. Just washes out wide.
Looks like he's more or less back up to speed. Team will take a look at that as he comes by on the front straightaway to ensure there's not a tire rub or anything like that. Mirko will feel the car out, so much experience, he'll know if something feels amiss.
Mutsu up to 4th, Schwest, Blinn right there with him, so I think this battle is going to continue all the way to the checkered flag. Davis is in a bit of a vacuum right now, got to get his head down, see if he can do anything with Kyle Washington. Last time across the stripe, both those drivers set their fastest laps of the day, but Davis was 3/10 quicker.
Here comes Schultes working his way around Lecco in the leading Cup class car.
Yeah, so got a little bit of a reset. I assume it was just a little bit of a driver error there that sent him off the road. Otherwise, he'd have peeled into pit lane if he thought there was something amiss with the race car. Hopefully that right front bodywork will stay in place here. Obviously high speeds, but 155 miles an hour down the Elmwood straightaway. That will tear up bodywork if it's loose like that. Schwest rolling speed through there. Mutsu had to overslow the Ferrari a little bit. Didn't quite have the confidence that Ross does have with his race car through that really tricky turn 13.
Schwest does look comfortable.
This is where he needs to set him up a little bit. Just back up half a car length and then just fire it through the apex here with your speed. Don't be stymied by the car in front.
Mutsu got through there pretty well as well that time. Complicating matters for Ross is Scott Blinn isn't far back, is he? I mean, he's there and could capitalize if the two in front got side by side.
Yeah, they're so evenly matched. Just a few hundred separating them lap after lap.
Good run, though, out of 17 this time, I think, from Schwest. This is as close as he's looked, down to 1. A furtive glance to the inside, but nope, not going to make the attempt here. Jason Bell, leader in GT4 ahead. This could get really tight, and it did.
Whew.
That was a pinch point.
It was. Mutsu was going to go left, and Jason tried to get out of the way on the left-hand side. Suddenly, Mutsu had to leap all over the brake pedal to not run over the top of him. Thought Schwest was going to take advantage of that, but he was kind of balked a little bit as well. They did Blinder run here out of turn 5 on the run of the hairpin.
Yeah, it certainly does. Scott looking like he's got a head of steam built up here. Schwest has to go on the defensive. Here comes Scott now with the Porsche. Looking to the outside of Ross Schwest, who in turn almost had a nose to the inside of Mutsu. They stay in the same order. Ferrari ahead of Corvette, ahead of Porsche, out of 7.
Yeah, fascinating battle. This is awesome. Meanwhile, Davis continues to push, but on the last lap, Washington 4/10 quicker than Davis, so seems like Kyle has got the pace to maybe keep that runner-up finish going. Up front, Gidley has backed off his pace a little bit, still got a 5.5-second lead.
As they run, Gidley would have a 61-point lead over Davis, who in turn would be 1 point ahead of Washington for second and third. And it's really close as well. Schwest and Mutsu separated by only 3 points in 4th and 5th, and Scott Blinn not too far behind them.
Yeah, I think the Ski Autosport team came to the championship late last year, missed the first couple of events, and that cost him a chance at the championship, and they came out guns blazing this year, committed to the full championship season, want to get another big trophy in the cabinet at the end of the year, and certainly that's been rewarded with Mamo's performances so far this season and great engineering on the car, delivering every single weekend. Look
here at famous turn 17 or Sunset Bend, and looking at the kind of commitment it takes to go quickly through there. How about that, Janetta? You rightly pointed out it looked good over the bumps. You've got to be quick through 17.
Yeah, because that doesn't have the downforce of a GT3 car. That's kind of the ebb and flow of those two categories. A lot more horsepower, as you mentioned, 800 horsepower. The GT2 car doesn't have the downforce to get through the corners or into the brake zones like these cars. So, but yeah, I mean, that car looks really, really strong. And just technology, I marvel at it when you look at some of the old photos coming through turn 17 with cars leaping through the air and looking really ugly. Now they just look really smooth. Kind of incredible what technology has done here over the last decade or two.
I believe this is the second to last lap of the race. Expecting the white flag next time by. Mamo Gidley leads in SRO 3, but in Cup, it is David Lecco who's trying to become and remain the only driver undefeated on the season in GT America, quite possibly in all of SRO America. Do some thinking about that. But this would be win number 6 for Lecco on the season. Deal Machine on the side. You know, he's excited to have a second car in the class here this weekend. Again, hope to see more of these Ginetta GTP8s as the season progresses.
Yeah, I think he's having fun, really enjoying the schedule. I'm sure he'd like to have a little bit more competition out there to fight against, but nonetheless, he's just working with the car on the team and working on their setups, I'm sure. And this has been a super challenging weekend for everyone to try and figure out a solution to these bumps here at Sebring.
Gidley coming through. He'll see the white flag at this time by as he flashes by the pit lane. Let's go to the pits and Amanda.
Yeah, I went down to see Auto Sports, and Phil and Rosello were laughing at me and like, what, you only come see us when Mamo's leading? And we were just talking about all the success that they've had here this season, but in talking to the team, was curious what Mamo's thoughts were after the race, and he said he just wanted to manage risk versus reward. He thought there were several opportunities on Tony Davis, but when you look at the championship hunt, sometimes making the smarter decisions is a veteran move, and we know Mamo knows how to do it.
Oh, no doubt about it. That's what Calvin was talking about earlier. We knew he was going to be thinking about all the scenarios, thinking it all through while still driving at a high speed. The brain of a top-level racing driver, it's almost like a supercomputer, all the different inputs that come in and are being processed at one time.
Absolutely, and he's just really enjoying this championship. He spoke to me after the wins at Coda and just said, wow, I'm just loving this, and I love the competition. They continue to push me, and yeah, the team has just done a great job with this Audi. I think they really know the car so well now, know what knobs to dial. to get this car into a sweet spot. They typically do a lot of running on old tires earlier in the weekend, and I think that's what really gives Memo the pace here in race conditions to go and put in a performance like we're seeing here today.
Won the championship back in 2023. Didn't see him in 24. Ran a partial schedule last year, even though he missed the first 4 races of the season. Still managed to finish 3rd in the SRO 3 class last year, but locked in for a full season assault on the championship in 2026, and Memo Gidley is now 1 corner away from his 5th win in 6 races to start the new campaign. Here he comes down the Alec Ullman Straits to Sunset Bend for the final time. Number 56 Audi from Ski Autosports, and Memo Gidley will come through turn 17 and see the checkered flag. Gidley bounces back from 2nd place in race 1 to win race number 2 at Sebring.
Yeah, they're pumped up. What a performance, what a weekend for that group. Didn't get the victory yesterday, but big points, and what a battle we saw deep in the field as well. Mutso comes across the line, clinches that 4th place run, but excellent performances all the way down the line with Schwest and Blind following him home.
Yeah, great job by Mutso. Best finish since the season opener. Tony Davis, 2 podiums here, including a win yesterday. That's a great weekend. Kyle Washington, a great weekend all around. And Lawrence Tomlinson battled through the cool suit issues yesterday. No such problems today. A win in GT2 for the Dollarhide Racing team. And in his return to GT America, the former champion Jason Bell sweeps the weekend in GT4. Just waiting on the Cup class leader, and here he is. Lecco to the stripe. He sees the checkered flag once more. Perfect on the season.
Yeah, solid run, solid weekend for him. His unbeaten run continues. But Gidley, that was a great performance. Way to come back from yesterday. I'm sure he thought about things overnight, maybe tweaked on the race car, thought about the slightly cooler conditions this morning, and boy, did they deliver. Ski Autosports, what a run they're on.
Yep, firing on all cylinders, that's for sure. Team that has become a staple in this paddock. Kent and Melissa Hussey, all the work that they do to assemble that team. Here's Corey Deeds coming through. He'll take the checkered flag, 2nd place in the Cup class. Hope it was a fun weekend for Corey as he made his debut here at Sebring. But there's Memo Gidley with the hand out the window, saluting the fans. And he'll soon be in victory lane for the 5th time this year. It's a great team, as we've talked about. Kent and Melissa Hussey, they've got a great collection of historic cars. That's kind of their background in the sport, but started dabbling in more modern motorsport just a few years ago. Now, racking up the race wins with remarkable alacrity. It's pretty special what they put together.
Yeah, it's got great chemistry. Looks like they're having a lot of fun. Obviously, winning races makes it more fun and happier times in any group. But yeah, they work hard. They take it really, really seriously and keep digging, keep finding a little bit more speed in the Audi. And but I love the championship. I love the new faces that we're seeing, how competitive they are. And I think we're going to see some new faces in victory lane before the end of the year. There's so much potential in this field.
Well, Tony Davis realized that potential, didn't he, yesterday? That was a remarkable drive to fend off Memo Gidley as long as he did, especially considering he had been in that position just a few weeks ago at COTA. And, you know, he learned the lesson there. It doesn't take much, one little moment, and Memo Gidley, a driver of his caliber, can pounce and a win can slip through your fingertips. But that's not the case for Tony Davis here. Got the win yesterday, 3rd place today, and still 2nd in points. Kyle Washington, I think we'll be happy with the weekend as a whole. Big win last night in GT World Challenge America. Had pole for this race today, ultimately 3.5 seconds adrift of Memo Gidley, who wins for the 5th time. Mark Mutso and Ross Schwest, 4th and 5th. Scott Blind showed really good pace today. Seems like he's coming to grips with the GT3 car. Yeah,
doing a really nice job. I think he's going to get a little feistier as this season goes on. He gets more comfortable, but his pace is there, driving really, really well.
Mirko with the little slip up off track. That cost him a couple of spots. Did come home in 7th. Lawrence Tomlinson, happy to hear we might see him later on this season. Musial, Unesi Bell, Lecco Deeds, Lumsden, and Manship, who did not start after the incident on the formation lap. Here are the points. And indeed, it is Memo Gidley by a healthy margin, let's say, over Tony Davis by just 1 point over Kyle Washington. And you know what? Schwest and Mutso and Blend, they're all right there too. I think fighting from second, third, fourth, fifth, that could be fun the rest of the way.
Yeah, it certainly is, picking up the pieces after Gidley, and Gidley's kind of putting in such a dominant season. It's going to be tough to catch him unless something major happens, but either way, the team will keep fighting. There's Rosella, she's going to be pleased with her charge here today. Memo delivered the goods once again.
He did indeed. You can see the smile under the helmet. Still as passionate about his racing as ever, and that's true of racing a GT car. It's also true of going racing in karts. He just won a big karting event and championship out at Sonoma Raceway last weekend. Talked to me about that on the phone, and I think he was as excited about the prospects of winning a shifter kart title out at Sonoma as he was about coming here and getting a win in GT3.
Yeah, he just loves to race. Give the boy 4 wheels. He's going to take it and take the opportunity and trying to get it victory lane. Melissa celebrates there. Big hug from the team owner.
Yep, that's Melissa Hussey there, congratulating her driver. Jason Bell's got a big smile on his face. Welcome back to him here at the championship and to Racer's Edge. John Baraki over in Italy, giving up ownership of the team and stepping away into retirement. So it's a new era for the Racer's Edge squad based here in Florida. Nice to see them rewarded when they put this program together here to be on the grid. Meanwhile, Tony Davis is celebrating with yesterday's winner, Memo Gidley. Yeah, those two have, seems like quite a bond.
Yeah, you can see they're really enjoying this race. It's good stuff.
Gidley's got the helmet off. Let's get our GT4 winner now.
Well, we're going to try to talk to Memo Gidley, too, but I need him to get his helmet off. But one winner here today that does have his helmet off. Welcome back to Jason Bell. I know you've been missed around this paddock. How much have you missed it?
Oh, a lot. Obviously, I came back here and I'm going to race the rest of the year. So I'm excited. I was fun. I thought hopefully I didn't forget how to drive. But now I just need some people to show up and race me.
Thank you, Jason. We'll see you down the road.
Message has been sent and the invitation extended. Would be great to see that happen. And Memo Gidley here will celebrate as well in victory lane. But for GT America, powered by AWS, coming up next is a much-anticipated trip to Road Atlanta, June 12th through the 14th. We'll see you there. But for now, so long from Sebring.